Hey team, welcome back to another curtain wall storefront session. In our last session, I had a couple of you asking for a more in-depth session on curtain walls and storefront editing and management. So here we are. I think it was like Sarah, Piper, and maybe John as well that were asking. So here we are, guys, back at it for round numero dos or tres. I don't even know what we're on now. But looking at different scenarios for curtain wall editing here in Revit. I'm in Revit 2024 currently. And if you know curtain walls and storefronts, just a quick background, they can be a little finicky. The editing software with Revit is a bit finicky with mullions and grid alignment and using grids and just modifying them in general. You'll lose a mullion here or there. You'll have to add it back. They won't join correctly. Maybe a grid will disappear. Little things like that, or the mullion will change. There's some finicky things with it. And so what this tutorial lesson is today is just a basic, I guess more than a basic overview. It's a more in-depth overview of curtain wall management in general. And when I say curtain wall, storefront curtain wall, they act basically the same in Revit. So that's kind of interchangeable in this lesson, just FYI. So today we have a couple scenarios. I have practice scenario 1, scenario 2, 3, and 4. I don't know if we'll get to all 4 of these scenarios today. We may have to split this video up into 2 videos to keep it kind of at a reasonable length. So I may do that. But we'll start with practice scenario 1 here, and we'll get into it. First, when dealing with curtain walls, one thing, and I've shown this before, I think, in other lessons, but up here under the modify tool, let's minimize this stuff so we have the most space possible. I like to minimize my properties. That's pretty minimal already, but we're not going to use the project browser today. So over under top left, under modify, select, drop down, there's the select elements by face tool. It's very useful, and a lot of people don't even know about it or use it. You have to be careful with it, of course. If you have this on and you're in a floor plan, so on is having that selected, right? Select elements by face. If you have it on and you're in a floor plan, you're moving around and the floors aren't locked down or pinned, you could easily shift the floor around without trying to accidentally. And so it's definitely a tool you want to turn off when you're not using, but turn on when you are on curtain wall management for sure. I think it helps. And so I have that on, and the reason I have it on is just to be able to quickly select the extents of the curtain wall with one click instead of tabbing into the edges. Normally you have to tab onto the edge of the curtain wall here until you get it right. But with that tool selected, you can just quickly select once in the space within the curtain wall itself, and you should get the extents. You have the curtain wall selected when it's in this modify tab is up top, and everything, you're seeing the shape handles of the curtain wall itself. So that's just a little tip and trick I like to use when modifying curtain walls. It just saves me time and really just energy. It just gets annoying trying to tab onto curtain walls sometimes. So like I said, I have that on for the extent of this tutorial, and let's get going. If you don't know, curtain walls are kind of set up by grids, right? There's horizontal and vertical grids that the mullions center on usually. And so those grids you can tab onto with a click, with a couple tab clicks on the where the mullion's located, and you'll see this curtain wall grid text showing, so you have it selected, right? So we have horizontal and vertical grids on this curtain wall, which are showing when you tab onto them. But let's do scenario 1 here just to get started, and we'll see if you want to keep going to scenario 2 and then the other videos as well. So and again, before we start, one last thing is this is not a beginner video. This is more of a medium level video for those that kind of know some things about curtain walls and just don't have all the editing tools in their repertoire to use. So I just want to show you these things to hopefully some of them you can pick up and some of them you can you may already know or may not use. So this first scenario, we have a 18-foot wide by 12.6 tall curtain wall. So pretty big curtain wall here and a brick facade, and it's integrated into the brick facade, right? You can see that in the floor plan here, which we won't get into floor plan much, but when you're in the floor plan, you basically want to align the curtain wall with certain portions of, depending on what your thickness of exterior siding is and so forth. So we'll get into that in another video. We're not going to do floor plan alignment. We're focusing on elevation alignment, and elevation is where you can, and where I suggest modifying curtain walls the most. It's the look and feel of the curtain wall. The mullions itself can be edited best in an elevation view. You don't want to do this in a 3D view. It's just very difficult, and you can't really modify mullions well in a floor plan view either, or a section view. It just gets difficult. So elevation view is where we're at. And one other thing, we can, if you'd like, when you're dimensioning things and working on curtain walls within a wall, like the brick here itself, we can use this tool where we select the brick wall and click on these glasses down here, temporary hide isolate, where we can hide an element temporarily. So if you've used that before, you know what to do, but you can hide that brick wall just temporarily so that you can more easily grab the edges of the curtain wall and not the brick itself, right? When you're dimensioning things, you're snapping to the grid lines and so forth. So let's look at the steps here in practice scenario 1, which is the one we're going to do first. Lots of talking, sorry guys, it's just the way it is. Hope you don't get too tired of my voice. Yeah, so here we go. First thing, we want to increase the width to 21 feet. Hold the left edge and add vertical grid, continuing 3 feet spacing. So right now we have 18-foot width. We're going to increase that to by 3 feet to 21-foot width. To do that, we just select the curtain wall itself. There's a couple ways to do that actually. If you just go up here and put in, select that dimension, overall extent of 18 feet and type 21 feet to change it there, it will change it on both sides evenly. So it's going to spread out left and right. And I'll show you that just to show you. But that's not what I want to do here. Doing that, reversing into that, you'll see it kind of messes up our, it makes us have to realign the grids a lot. And I don't like that. So we're going to Control Z that. And we're going to select the curtain wall again with one click. And we're going to just drag the right edge with these shape handles here. All right. So let's drag that out, watching as the dimension up top changes. And there's 21 feet there. Okay. So we're now at 21 feet from edge to edge. And we now need to add a grid here at 3 feet here between the 6 evenly spaced here, so that our 3 feet on center continues. All right. To do that, there's a couple ways to do that as well. You can select the existing grid right next to it, tab onto that, and use the copy tool. You can find that. I'm not going to show you where that is. And select copy 3 feet over and hit enter, right? If you don't know how to use the copy tool, this is not the tutorial for you. So we've copied that grid over. As you'll see, the mullions did not move with the grid, and that's fine. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's based on the the curtain wall type that you have set up. And so let me quickly show you that, just to show you what our settings are for the curtain wall properties. We'll go into the properties of the curtain wall and edit the type. All right, hopefully you can see this screen here. And if you scroll down, this is the parameters for the curtain wall that we have set up here today. The vertical and horizontal mullions are what we're going to focus on here. As you'll see, we have none selected for all of these, for border 1, border 2, and interior type, all none. I like doing that if we're going to have multiple different mullion types within a curtain wall. So that's why that's set to none. If you know your curtain wall is going to be one set mullion type throughout, I would go ahead and hit this drop down and select the mullion that you're going to use for all of these. and you can fill that in for all 6 spots here, all 6 of these, right? But today, and that's why I'm showing you that, is because I think that's why when we copied that grid over, nothing populated, no mullions populated, is because pretty sure because that's set to none, which is fine. We'll just manually put those in real quick. To manually put those mullions on this grid line, which is just this dotted line here, dashed line, sorry. There's different ways to do that. You could use the architecture curtain mullion tool, and select grid line and then choose your mullion. So we'll do it this way, the slower way. So for this project, what do we want? We want 2.5 by 6 inch mullions throughout on this curtain wall. So and what color do we want here? We want green metal panel and green mullions throughout on this curtain wall. So we'll select the 2.5 by 6 green mullion, rectangular mullion, and then we'll hit enter here. All right. So far, so good. It's looking great. Aren't we just excited? So now, basically, what we want to do is we have the mullions here, and our next step is update all mullions to 2.5 by 6 inch throughout. The green color is what we're going to do for this curtain wall. So to do that, you just select one mullion, and this is a nice tip or trick if you've never used it before. Select one mullion, go to right click. So select a mullion, right click on it, go to select mullions, and then mullions on host here. Okay, hopefully you can see that. I'll do it over here a little further so you can see and make sure you see. So select mullions on host. We'll select all the mullions on the host, which is the curtain wall itself. And then we're going to just go up. We're going to make sure it's unpinned, which it's unpinned currently, which is great. Sometimes Revit will pin them all automatically. If they're pinned, you can't change them. You need to unpin them first, okay? So go ahead and select rectangular mullion in the properties bar and select the 2.5 by 6 green. Okay, great. We've updated all the mullions to 2.5 by 6. Next, update green metal panels for the existing horizontal strips, which are this bottom strip and this strip here. We want to keep those, but we need to add a metal panel here because right now it's showing, if you tab onto it, it's showing a vision glass panel. So we want to change those. One way to change all those would be one quick way. If multiple need to be changed, you just select one on that row, tab onto it, right click, go to select panels here, and select panels on on horizontal grid. That's going to select all the panels across that horizontal. As you'll see, one is pinned for some reason. We'll unpin all of them, and then we'll change that panel type to, and we're going to have to scroll way down for this one, metal panel green, right? We want green throughout. Green mullions throughout and green metal panel. Same thing up here. Let's select one, right click on it, select panels on horizontal grid, unpin them all, and scroll down to metal panel green. Awesome. So this is looking really good so far. We have updated the width. We have updated all the mullions to the same 2.5 by 6 green mullion. We've updated these 2 rows of metal panels, metal panel infill on the curtain wall itself to a green metal panel so that it all matches. And lastly, we just need to fix up any mullion joins that aren't correct. So as you'll see, this all looks great. We want these vertical mullions to continue up to the top, horizontal at the very top. So that's all looking great on these grids here. It looks like just this grid here. See how the vertical mullion stops. We don't want it to stop. We'll select, to fix that, we just select this mullion and hit this little crosshair toggle mullion join to join that. Okay, those crosshairs can be tricky. If they're giving you trouble, joining mullions is giving you trouble, go ahead and just delete the mullions above and below or around there and reinstate them basically, and a lot of times that will fix that issue if you're having that issue. Okay. All right, so next we're done with this scenario 1. I think we've followed all these steps. Complete middle panel horizontals were missing. We added those where they were missing, and we are. Let's see. Let's dimension this just to make it all come together, so that it's 3 feet on center throughout that 21-foot width. One other little thing I want to point out is that when you're working with curtain walls, you can easily snap to the grid lines if you just hover over them, right, to dimension them. However, on the edge, as you'll see, it won't let me select the middle of this mullion, and it's just a weird functionality of Revit where it only lets you select the far edge of the extent mullion, and that's okay. I've gotten used to it. If anyone has a great example of how to fix that, let me know. The only way I know around that is to like actually add a grid line right there in the middle of that mullion. But I don't like adding extra grid lines if I don't need them. They can mess things up when I'm modifying later if things need to change. So I'm gonna keep it as is. I'm gonna keep it dimensioned. But as you'll see, or as you can probably see, this panel is going to be a different width, right? This glass is going to be a different width than this edge glass. All the other glass should be the same width except for the edges. So that's going to be a little bit smaller. And that's okay for this tutorial and when you're modeling in Revit. But again, submit a comment down below if you have a good alternative for other than adding a grid on the edge there to fix that. All right, I haven't been able to find anything. Great. So we're done with scenario 1. Let's move on to scenario 2. It looks like we're probably only going to get to the first 2 scenarios in this session, and we'll just create another video for the other 2, if that sounds all right to you guys. So let's see the steps on scenario 2. We have an 18 width by 12 foot 6 inch height. First, we want to set the height, update that to 12.0 right here. Adjust the width from 18 to 15 and delete mullions as needed. Keep the 3 foot on center vertical grid setup that we have. Okay, great. Let's change the height first. Do that by selecting with a click on the overall extent of the curtain wall. And then I like, you can change it with this this little shape handle if you'd like the height. However, I like to be more exact, and I like to just change it over in the properties panel. So once the curtain wall is selected, just go to unconnected height because top constraint is unconnected, which is actually perfect. So we'll just change this unconnected height to 12 feet, hit enter, and escape out of that. All right, as you'll see, the height has updated. We're now at 12-foot height and 18-foot width. The width now needs to change to 15 feet, so we need to shrink this by 3 feet. To do that, there's not a good setting on the properties panel for that, and I'm going to use the shape handle. So I'm going to just drag this 3 feet over. Before I do that, I can change the width, like we showed before above, but if I change that to 15 feet, all the grids kind of get misaligned, and I don't want to worry about that. So I'm just going to drag one side for this session here. So let's go to 15 feet. And that should update as we go. For some reason, it's a little finicky. All right, you're going to get this warning, can't create curtain wall mullion. The portion of the current grid it was placed on no longer exists. So that's great. It just means that these mullions that are highlighted are going to be deleted because we've shifted in 3 feet, and that's okay. Let's hit delete element and delete those. You don't want to keep those if we're shifting the grid, right? So that's fixed up. Just to check and make sure we don't have double mullions or anything, we can select one, delete it real quick just to see there's nothing underneath, and tab over here to make sure there's not an extra grid hanging out, which I don't love. So that's just a little trick on testing to make sure there's no extra grids or mullions on the edge, because they will come back to haunt you. All right, so once that's done, we are going to take a drink. And it is hot in this room, but bear with me. I need to drink lots of fluids. AC's out, which is no fun. All right. So next, we're going to adjust the width from 18 to 15. We did that. Delete mullions as needed. Keep the 3 foot on center. Let's check to make sure we're still 3 feet on center. So let's move this up a bit and check these to make sure we're 3 feet on center. Looks like we're good. Okay, great. Next, update all mullions to 2.5 by 7.5 mullions throughout, and change to a charcoal color for the mullions. It looks like they're already a charcoal color, but what size do we have? Let's tab onto one and see, or a couple of these. It looks like we're at, up here you can see in the properties panel, 2.5 by 6. So we're good. We're actually not good. We need to change that. So let's select one to fix this. You can just select one, right click, select mullions. Sorry, I just want to make sure everyone can see this. Select mullions on host, because curtain wall is the host, and then change that over here on the properties panel to 2.5 by 7.5. What color do we want? We want charcoal gray. Okay, so test that out to make sure that worked. Select on a mullion, make sure a couple of these mullions, just select them to make sure we're at 2.5 by 7.5. Okay, looks like that worked out fine. Looks like we're missing some mullions over here, so let's add those real quick. To do that, we just let's do it this way, where we just select an existing mullion that we know is correct. Go create similar. If you don't use create similar, go ahead and create a shortcut for that, or find that in the toolbars above. So I selected create similar, and I'm gonna select on that grid line, highlighting over the grid line, and select, and then do the same thing here. Okay. It looks like that worked just fine. Great. Okay. What's next? Charcoal color update to glazing throughout, no metal panel at all on this curtain wall. Okay, great. So we have glazing here already set, right? System panel, glazed vision panel. We want to select all the panels though. So to select all the panels, you're just going to right click there and go to select panels and panels on host. It's going to select all the panels, which is a nice little quick tool to use if you've never used it before. I'm going to unpin that, of course, to change it, right? We always need to unpin first if there's pinned elements. And then we're going to go here and select, scroll way down to select the vision glass. Glazed vision glass, GLO1 is what we're calling it. Okay, great. So we have no metal panel. We've selected the glazed vision glass. Last thing we want to do is dimension these horizontal grids. Let's actually equal them all out so they're even or relatively even throughout the facade. So we're just going to click on the top. Again, same thing with the verticals. You can't select the middle. So we're just going to select the top of that top grid. And then we're just going to go down selecting the midpoint or the grid line of all of these and getting to the bottom, right? And then bring that over. We can make this smaller if we'd like. See how they're overlapping? Can't see them very well. So let's make both these smaller. Let's make them 1/16 inch text so that we don't have to shift them to see them. I like to do that sometimes. Okay, so these are all at kind of a different setting, right? We have 2'7", 2'7.25". We have 1'5.25", and that's fine. I mean, it depends on how you want to set these up on your project. It's not always that these panels are evenly spaced, right? Or the mullions are evenly spaced. It just depends on the project. But on this one, I just want to show you that we can select that and equal them out very quickly. It shifts all those. As long as these are attached to the grids themselves, that will work. You just got to make sure you select the actual grid. So that's equaled out. If you hit that equal sign again, if you toggle that, it stays equal, but it actually shows you it actually shows you the the dimensions of each of these. So we're at 2 foot even on all of them, which is great. Okay, we can keep it equal, or we can keep it at 2. Either way, if they're still not locked, right? So that's fine. So let's shift that over and make that look nice. All right, so that wasn't equalizing the dimensions on the horizontal grids, wasn't listed here, but it is now. So equal horizontal grids throughout. All right, and we've done that. Okay, this is looking great for a very basic curtain wall with no doors and just glazing and mullions. All right, let's go to the next scenario, and we're gonna catch up on this in the next video. I think we're gonna call this first video phase 1 of the curtain wall systems, and then we'll call the next one phase 2 or something along those lines so that you can find it.